Priti Patel introduces her new policing bill. The Labour Party once again showed their hypocrisy, and Sir Keir Starmer's support continues to collapse. Hello everyone and welcome to today's first program. Firstly, thanks to everyone who joined our last night on Discord, the voice chat that we had with everyone. It was really nice if you were part of it. If you're not on Discord, join our Discord channel. The link is in the description. Now let's talk about Priti Patel. There's this controversial policing bill that's been introduced in Parliament by the government, and everyone's kicking off. We're going to be objective on this because there are a lot of good things part of this bill that I like. When it comes to tougher sentencing for higher crimes and not being childish when it comes to justice. But on the other hand, there's one aspect which is to clamp down on peaceful, and I say keyword is peaceful, protests, that they're going to give more powers to the police to do what they did at Sarah Everard's vigil, and actually even worse than that, because at this point they can use the lockdown rules as an excuse to say that, well, we're just enforcing the law. But it's no excuse for their behavior, the way they handled it. And we're going to talk about the Labour Party because their position on this, flip-flopping as usual, and the hypocrisy of it has been exposed. So I'm going to show it to you on this programme. First, let's talk about Charles Walker, who's one of the really good Tory MPs that we have in this Parliament. He's been very consistent in terms of supporting and defending civil liberties and people's individual freedom. He came out to criticise Priti Patel on this issue when it comes to people's right to protest.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Madam Deputy Speaker, this House criminalised the freedom of protest. This House, us. Not Dame Cressida, not the Metropolitan Police. We did. We criminalised the freedom to protest collectively. We are up to our eyeballs in this. Does the Home Secretary, my right honourable friend, agree with me that now is the time to decriminalise freedom of protest? Not tomorrow, not next week, but this afternoon, this evening. Let's get people back on the streets. Let's allow people to get things off their chest again.
That's a fair point. And I think this is my biggest opposition to this bill, because as I said, there are a lot of aspects of this that I support, especially when it comes to higher crimes and sentencing. The problem is that those who are opposing it, they're opposing one aspect, one part, which is the new powers to the police, and they want to vote down the whole thing instead of actually amending it and make some changes to it. This includes Sir Keir Starmer's Labour Party. But what Charles Walker said, the response that we had from Priti Patel, the Home Secretary, was ridiculous. It's absolutely irrelevant to what Charles Walker was talking about, because she started ranting about the lockdown rules again.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I understand entirely the sentiment that my right honourable friend has emphasised and echoed this afternoon. The Prime Minister has laid out a roadmap, and I appreciate that the right honourable gentleman would love me to say right now, let's just do this and change things immediately. There is a roadmap that has been laid out. We are still in a pandemic, and we are following with the guidance.
Okay, again, I don't understand what that's got to do with anything, because you give these powers to the police now. Well, until the 21st of June? Do you really think that the police behaviour, the change that you're making, the police behaviour, how they're supposed to be handling these marches or whatever it is, any gathering, that's going to create a bad precedent? And it's going to continue. And people like Sadiq Khan, who's the police commissioner, is in charge of policing in London, is going to take advantage of this against any sort of march that he doesn't like, including, and right now we have anti-lockdown, and in the future we're going to have more pro-civil liberties marches post this lockdown as well. Don't create a bad precedent, and this is the biggest issue that we have. On the other hand, the Labour Party have nothing to offer. They've come out, everyone's kicking off from the Labour Party. You've got David Lammy saying, oh, this is just the worst thing ever, the whole bill is terrible. They forgot, and this is the same Labour Party, the shadow Home Secretary of the Labour Party, who less than a week ago actually came out to say that while Labour has been calling for a number of these changes, they will not go far enough to tackle violence against officers. So, a week ago, he said this bill needs to be harsher. Then, this morning, he continued by actually saying that there are some things in there that we've been campaigning for a long time, and that are good. And there are some things in there that we like the look of. So, he's supporting it. And David Lammy and the Labour Party and Sir Keir Starmer are now against it. They're criticising it, while the Shadow Home Secretary is supporting it. And this is the same Shadow Home Secretary again, who a while ago, after the issues that we had in the summer, he actually said he was in favour of longer sentencing for people who attack memorials and statues. Now, the Labour Party and Sir Keir Starmer are saying this is too harsh. No, that's too long. It should just be probably like 10 minutes instead of 10 years. They've completely flip-flopped on this issue, and they don't really understand. Who should we listen to? Is the Shadow Home Secretary of the Labour Party the spokesperson for the Home Office affairs, that if they get into power or not? Is it going to be David Lammy? Is it going to be Diane Abbott? I'm not really sure exactly where to take the line from at this point. But the Labour Party have been flip-flopping on this issue. Ken Marsh from the Metropolitan Police Federation was on Julia Hartley-Brewer's show. There is this issue with politicising the police and the police going woke. Recently, we've seen the decisions coming from Sadiq Khan and Priti Patel and everybody else, all political parties, making the police force more political than before. And he had none of it. He was completely giving up on the real aspects of policing in the UK.
Do you think that actually too much political input goes into how things are policed now, rather than actually just policing the law?
Hallelujah. Absolutely. 100%. We say it over and over again. Police are responsible for policing. And we have been bombarded by this government with more tickets, do more of this, do more of that. 67 new pieces of legislation have been put in front of my colleagues to deal with, and a constant barrage of what we're not doing correctly. And every time they have a briefing at Downing Street, it ends up with the police will deal with this, the police will deal with that. It beggars belief what they've asked my colleagues to do. I'm amazed I'm not on the radio now talking to you about the hundreds and hundreds of incidents that we've got wrong, because we've had such little time to prepare and put ourselves on the front line. I think we've done an amazing job, but as you quite rightly say, it absolutely appalls me when the mayor, who you quite rightly say is our boss, comes out with the commentary he's come out with without the facts. And yet again, we're on the back foot, and other members of government. It's unfair. We just get bashed constantly.
Well, Ken Marsh is absolutely spot on, especially about Sadiq Khan, considering he's their boss and, the sort of comments he makes without thinking. Secondly, he agrees that the police have made a lot of mistakes and we should now be talking about them. But you can't, because now we completely moved the goalposts again. 67 pieces of legislation have been put in front of the police officers recently, thanks to this government. You're creating more paperwork, you're creating more confusion. The beginning of the lockdown, the police didn't know how they were supposed to be handling it. Some police officers were just walking around. Some of them were using drones to name and shame the public, and some of them were just arresting everyone. And it makes absolutely no sense. No one knows who's in charge. Sadiq Khan, Christina Dick, and everybody else, absolutely shambolic. So this is the problem we have. And when it comes to this bill, we have to actually understand what their purpose is going to be, because this government is also behind proposals, decisions to create new measures. Plainclothes police officers to go around nightclubs and bars to protect women. Really? How is this going to help? There are a number of issues with this, and in places, certain countries that's been introduced, the backlash has been very shambolic. So you're going to have a lot of drunk people pretending to be plainclothes officers. You're going to have certain, it happens, and it's happened in the past, plainclothes actual police officers who, or because, some of them are not actual police officers. They take advantage of, abuse of their position of power, and things happen. This is not going to actually support and defend women when it comes to nightclubs or bars. Actually, on this point, Theresa May said something that I agree with, which is, interesting. It's been a while since we've heard from Theresa May, but she came out to actually say that, you could introduce all these measures, all these legislations. It's not enough. That's just not how you tackle the problems we have in society when it comes to men, women, all the things that we have. This is what she had to say.
Also recognise that legislation is not enough, and that if we are going to eradicate violence against women and girls, we need a change of attitudes. And that is about dealing with perpetrators, changing their behaviour, but also teaching young men and boys about respect for women and about what is or is not acceptable in a relationship.
I mean, that applies to every single person, every child, regardless of their gender. We just need to have better education system, better parenting. And yeah, there's a societal problem. And the more you try to clamp down on certain things, it's just not going to work. And this is the biggest problem that we have. Certain measures are good, absolutely. If someone commits a crime, go after them. But going after innocent people is not the way you do it. But going back to the Labour Party, they're not doing too well. And it's because the British public, know. They're not stupid. You've got ordinary common sense focused people who are sick and tired of Sir Keir Starmer. He's actually doing much worse than Jeremy Corbyn in the 2019 elections, because he can't even bring the left on his own side. And that's the biggest problem he has. He's losing people on the left because they're saying, he's not left-wing, he's a Tory. And the rest of the country, no, they just don't believe you. So, he's not that Tony Blair that the new Labour Blairites were hoping for. And so we have to, as usual, hold them to account. It's not just Priti Patel and that government that we need to hold to account. It's also the opposition at this point. But yeah, I mean, this situation in Parliament is ongoing. There's a lot of debates that are going to happen, a lot of amendments that's going to come through on this issue. So I'll keep you guys posted as usual. If you are a member of the channel, make sure to go on the community tab on the main page of the channel and sign up to our weekly newsletters. We've launched a new weekly newsletters every Sundays. We're going to publish it this coming Sunday. If you're not a member, you want to join our newsletters, but also get a lot of perks that we have, members Q&As and weekly Zoom calls with me and Lacey, then definitely check out the link in the description. You could find the join button next to subscribe as well. Thanks again for watching. I'm Tousi, and I'll see you guys in the next video.